Hey guys, it's Sean, Autotopia LA. Today we got a fun one, man. We're gonna take a buddy of mine who's also a client. He keeps a car here in storage with me. You guys might have seen him on, I don't know, Overhaulin, Long Lost Family, NFL Network, Barrett Jackson. My buddy Chris Jacobs owns this super cool 68 GTX. We're gonna take some time today, do a little driving around in it. We're gonna profile the car, show you some of the details on it. It's got a Foose paint job, Foose wheels on it. And then Chris, about a year and a half ago, caught the front of the car on fire. He figured it was time to get some Mopar mastery involved. So he took it to Worman, Graveyard Cars. They did an episode on this car where they put a modern 392 in it, brought it back to life. And actually, you know, it came out really cool. Super mild build. This isn't a crazy, this isn't a $500,000-$600,000 build. This is a pretty mellow build. But it's a super cool car, so we're gonna take it out, do a little drive in it. We're gonna walk you through some of the details of it, and we'll show you the underside of the hood. There's a Phoenix, rises from the ashes. So super cool. I'm really excited to do this today. Let's go for a drive and let's show you some details on Chris's car. All right, here we go. This build is this is an old school build, you guys. Down to the shifter. I've finally kind of figured this shifter out. So what are we driving here, man? First of all, got to say thanks to my buddy Chris Jacobs for, letting me take your car out, bro. I promise I'll be nice and cool with it. So check this out, you guys. This is Chris's 68 Plymouth GTX. If you guys know or have seen or watched any of Chris, typically you'll figure it out very quickly. He's a Mopar guy. I mean, he's a car guy all the way for sure. And I know Chris's tastes are pretty wide and broad, but Chris is a Mopar guy. Hardcore Mopar guy. This is a GTX he's had for a number of years. Oftentimes mistaken as being a Foose build. It's actually a Foose paint job. Chip Foose did the paint on this car. It's got Foose wheels on it. And Chris likes cars close to original. He's not a hardcore resto mod pro touring guy. It's not what gets him going. He really likes cars that are closer to original or even all original. So this one's lightly modded. It's got bare brakes on it, so it stops better. There's some mild suspension work. But for the most part, this was a 446 pack car that Chris had and enjoyed taking it out to shows and driving around, going to Bob's and stuff like that. About, a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, the motor caught on fire, the original motor in the car. The whole car didn't go up in flames, just the motor burned up. So Chris being Chris, and kind of, fairly well plugged in the car world, shall we say, Chris took it to Worman, the Graveyard Cars guys, and brought it back to life. They put a modern day 392 Hemi crate motor in the car. Real simple, not all decorative, not all kinds of trick anything. It's very much a straight up 392 crate motor. The obvious electronics that needed to be done around that. And turn it into, I gotta admit, man, I'm driving the car for about 5 or 10 minutes now, and it's a great driving car. It feels like they're manual brakes. A lot of feel in them, but a lot of stomping to get them to stop. But that doesn't surprise me. This is an old school build. It's very fitting of Chris's style. It's a great driving car. Here I am just cruising, enjoying this car. And the underside of the hood is a really cool touch. Brought back from the ashes, so to speak. Granted, the car didn't burn to the ground, but it did catch on fire. And so you'll notice underneath the hood, there's a Phoenix, beautiful, in flames painted on here. Phoenix rising from the ash, right? or the shifter, I still can't figure it out. I know the car's got a torque flight transmission, set up kind of like a, you know, old school drag car, I suppose. But I think there's a way to get yourself in and out of the gears, first through third. Anyways, obviously I don't know what I'm doing on this part of the car. This thing's super cool. Some of the details on it, although it's, like I said, it is an older school build, you know, most of the interior is totally stock, simple gauges. And I love the license plate on this car. You'll notice it's GTXXX, right? I just think that's cool, man. Good job on this car, Chris. This thing's bitching, dude. I get it. Make it even cooler. I mean, think about the pedigree involved in this car. Think about the people associated, right? You got Chris Jacobs, the owner. You got Chip Foose, paint, wheels. Mark Worman, graveyard cars. Mark Laval painted the Phoenix on the underside of the hood. There's a lot of, you know, car royalty, we'll call it. And what's really cool is Chris is enjoying the car, driving it from time to time, taking it out to events. But what I love is Chris, with all the, you know, the pedigree behind this car, is next January, this GTX will be auctioned off at Barrett Jackson in Scottsdale, the big Barrett Jackson Auctions. And it's benefiting the Special Operations Warrior Foundation. If you haven't heard of it, because I hadn't before either, so obviously I did a little research on it. And this is a really super cool foundation, actually. Already donated into the millions of dollars to any of the armed forces, their version of special ops, be it you know, the Rangers, SEALs, what have you. Any of the special ops soldiers that are killed in action, their kids are guaranteed a scholarship to go to college. That's pretty cool. That's actually really cool. When it's a wounded special ops, they immediately give the family financial support so that the family can fly and be bedside, offering counseling and all kinds of support to wounded and deceased special ops soldiers' families. Really cool foundation. So this GTX of Chris's will be going across the block January 2019. Very cool, man. This thing cruises great. I love this old school wood steering wheel. How cool is this old school wood wheel? And how about the B&M shifter on here? How cool is that? I mean, that's, again, that's super old school drag stuff right there. B&M, if you don't know much about them, I mean, they're an American icon. Their involvement in drag racing history is astounding. Chris, your car just cruises great, dude. I dig this thing. All right, you guys, well, that is the Chris Jacobs 68 Plymouth GTX. Very cool car, man. I mean, like I said, it's an older school build. It's not a radical over the top like some of the cars you guys see me driving over here. This is a car you could drive all the time, though. You could really just enjoy jumping in and driving it. Fires right up, sounds really good. You hear the rumble, you know, it's got a nice tone. That 392 crate motor sounds really good. You know, you saw in there, I couldn't figure out how to get the thing into low gear. More than likely, it's a fail on my part. But you got to remember, this car was finished recently, hasn't really been driven much. I'm sure there's maybe a little shakedown needed in the car. But overall, super cool, fun car to drive. I mean, the styling on it's great, you know. I think the paint's really cool on this car. I like the mixture of the black, the matte, the orange, the silver. Lights up great out in the light. I mean, really just, you know, super cool car. This was super fun, and I'm stoked that Chris let me take the car out for a drive and show you guys his GTX, man. And remember, this thing's going across the block next January at Barrett Jackson, and it's benefiting Special Operations Warrior Foundation. This is a foundation I think that's worthy of at least looking into and possibly supporting. I know Chris is in big support of it, so all the proceeds that are generated from the sale of this car will go to that foundation. So anyways, you guys, as always, I gotta say thanks for hanging out, watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, come on, man, hit the subscribe button. And if you like what we're doing, hit the like button. And I love the feedback. It's been great. Some of it's nothing more than acknowledging what we're doing. Some of it's been constructive, which helps to give us direction in future episodes. So I appreciate all the feedback on it, man. That's it for today's episode. We'll see you guys next time. All right, man. Later.